Hi guys, welcome to Joistic. We are co-founders of Joistic, and today we are going to install, setup, and boost our local workflow with Claude Code and 5 to 6 essential MCPs. Shashank has already set up the whole workflow as well as the MCPs. So Shashank is going to take us through step by step how we can do it on our laptop, and that we would be sharing with you guys as well. So let's start, Shashank. Shashank, just first give us an overview of what all you have done, what MCPs are we going to integrate, and how Claude Code is boosting the overall workflow.
Yeah. So Claude Code, I've been using this from last 2 weeks now, and I have seen a drastic boost in my productivity. They are using Sonnet 4 model, but it's specifically optimized for coding, I think. And the overall, the terminal interface, I think, is good. The main advantage I feel of using Claude Code is that you are not dependent on a single ID. You don't have to open an ID and keep multiple. Let's say we are working on multiple projects, right? So we don't have to in our current setup on Cursor, we have to keep multiple editors open and switch between them. With Claude Code, it's only terminal. You get all the information needed to know what the Claude agent is doing on your code and what updates he is doing, but you are not distracted by the whole ID stuff. So that is one of the advantage. And on the MCP side, I think the main advantage is the easy setup of MCP on Claude Code. And today we are going to set up with 5 MCPs that I have already done and using in day to day right now from last 2 weeks. The first one is Linear. So Linear, as you know, is our default project management app that we use. So we would be integrating with that so that we can pull and push our issues directly through the Claude Code interface. Second MCP that we would be adding is the database MCP, which directly talks with our local database, be it MySQL or Postgres. The third MCP is Puppeteer. Puppeteer is basically a browser MCP where it opens a browser from the terminal, and then it is able to take screenshots and see the logs from the browser so that you can, if you are designing any UI for web, then it's very helpful where you don't have to constantly give screenshot to the terminal. The third MCP that we would be using is sequential thinking MCP. It only helps Claude to think more sequentially and step by step. There's one more MCP called mobile-mcp, which is good for the front-end development of mobile apps. So yeah, I think we can start. If one of you can share your screen and we can set up on your device.
So for the guys, I've been using Cursor for the last 6 months. So once I saw the workflow Shashank had, I was very tempted to have that on my computer as well. So we thought of replicating the whole flow. So we would be going step by step. I don't have Claude CLI installed in my terminal. I don't have any MCPs installed. It's right from scratch what we're doing, and we're doing it step by step.
Yeah. So the first thing, you just open the terminal that you are using locally. Yeah. So if you can check node version and npm version.
That's npm 10.9.2.
Okay. And node. Okay. So you are on latest.
Yeah.
Now the first step is to install Claude Code. So if you just search on Google Claude Code install, it will open the first one. So that's the npm command that you need to install. So it needs basic Node.js version 18 minimum to run.
I'm just copying this. Okay. It says 2 packages. It's installed, right?
Okay, if you can just type in Claude. Okay, so this is the basic setup, the first time setup of the appearance that you want, light mode, dark mode. I think dark mode is good. And now you have to connect. You can connect to your account either by 2 if you have a console account or a subscription account. Do you have already Claude subscription?
No, I think we'll have to get that.
Yeah, so I think we can go with the first option and connect with the account that you already have.
Okay, I think the program is active.
Yeah. So just try, just do
Just start
Control
with this
C
again.
and just come out of that terminal. Yeah, authorize. Okay, so I think we are ready now. Use the recommended settings. Yeah, just do no exit because we want to do it, set it up inside a project. This is at a root level, right? You just go into navigate to a project that you want to work on.
For a particular project?
Yeah.
So we have to initialize in every project.
Not initialized. This was the first time setup, but yeah, we'll see. So first step is initialization of the project where it goes through the file and prepares a Claude MD file for its context. So that we'll have to do for every project, but
Okay.
So I think inside I can do it in sites folder, like which has my PHP
yeah,
as
yeah,
well
any
as
folder,
React.
any application folder, just navigate and we can start working on that.
Actually, any particular application folder.
Yeah, application project. Yeah, like one of our project.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you are inside that project, right? Just type in Claude. Okay, now do yes. Okay, so now the first step whenever you are doing for the first time in any project is, so there are slash commands in Claude Code. So if you just do a slash, it will show you a drop down of all that options are available.
Okay.
So we'll go through some of them. Just do it. Do the first command, which is init. Just type in init. So now it will go through your existing code base and
Okay.
then make a claude.md file, which has the overall overview of the project, and it will use it as a context every time you ask for a
Every
task.
time. So that would be stored separately in the project.
Yeah, it's same as cursor rules, but I think they have given now option to generate auto, right? Previously you had to
Right.
manually
Manually
create
create
that cursor rules files. So if you see, by default it has a bash tool already inbuilt, which reads, creates new file
Okay.
using the terminal. But
Right.
now what it will do is whenever you ask certain commands where it has to create a new folder or do anything, it will ask you every time whether to go ahead or not.
Okay.
And once you give, so there are two options. Once you give it permission, next time it won't ask you.
For the very first time, first flow,
Yeah.
it will ask me. Okay.
So yeah, so this is the first time. So if you can do the second option where it will
Yes,
not
and
ask you.
don't ask again in this session. Okay.
Yeah. So if you open this project in maybe, yeah, if you open this folder in cursor just to see the content of the Claude MD file. Yeah. If you just go through if it has done properly or not.
So the file provides runs to Gen Z marketplace connecting local business to others, technology stack. Okay. Okay. So now it has a better idea of the project.
Yeah.
Of what we
And so let's do some feature. Maybe we can pick one feature that you were already working on and we can do a test around it and also then add MCPs and see how it has improved.
Right. So, no. So how is the approach now? What should we do here?
Yeah. So, I mean, if we are fixing issue right now, otherwise, if we are making a new feature, Then there is a plan mode that they recently, like yesterday only, they added a new feature where if you just do shift tab twice, shift tab. So if you see, there will be a plan mode on.
Plan mode.
So in plan mode, it won't code. It
Okay.
will only talk with you. You can suggest changes. It will suggest you changes. And then once you are ready, it will ask you whether to start implementing.
Got it. So
You can also give images to the Claude Code.
Yeah.
So, Shashank, let's start with this app. This is a small new app that we are building it with boomco, where we are connecting influencers or content creators with small niche brands. So we are at a stage where the login and everything is working. We are able to create campaigns for the businesses, but the homepage doesn't look that good. And when I see it in a mobile view, I want to make this look a bit better and like a card campaign or something. So
Got
is
it.
this something that we can do with Cloud?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
So let's start with adding MCPs. I think we would need Puppeteer for this.
Right.
We would need database, and also let's test the linear also, so that we
Yeah.
can create an issue for this particular issue, and then take it from there. So let's start with linear. I've already shared you the links, the commands to install.
Right.
So the first one is linear. You just have to copy this and just come out of the Claude interface, and then you have to run that command. Just come out of this by clicking Control C twice. Yeah. So just, and enter. Okay, it's already installed. So now go into the Claude interface by typing Claude. No spelling. Now do /MCP. There. So now it is requesting linear for approval. Okay, it's done. So now just type MCP again and do enter. It should show if it is connected. Yeah, it's already connected.
Yeah. So should we connect all the MCPs first?
Yeah, I think let's connect all the MCP first. Okay. Second, you can do Puppeteer, but for that, there are few steps before you can do. Let's do with sequential thinking first. Sequential thinking and database, we can start. Yeah. Do database also. For database, we have to install another package at global level, which then uses that MCP. So there are two commands for database. Yeah. Do you, this is an MySQL database, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just have to update the command that I've shared for MySQL and update the database name in that. So there are two. First one is for Postgres. The second one is for MySQL. The one below it. Yeah. Just update the database name. Currently, it's global. And your user is root, right? In local with no password.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just use that command and yeah. Now just go in and do /MCP to see if it has connected. Okay, all three are connected. So let's check whether a database is working or not. You can just ask it to fetch or list any entries in the database you already have. List campaigns or maybe something. So it's finding the database name from the model. Yeah.
Okay, so the migration then.
Yeah. This is the first time, right? So it will go through and add it into its memory.
Right.
So this MCP can only fetch the data, or it can also
create, update, delete.
Okay.
So we have to be careful with that. We don't allow it to
delete
give
anything.
permission of delete. So it will ask you for the permission. You don't allow it for every time. You just give it for
Okay.
particular that session.
Mm.
I think it's going into loop. We have to first time let's specify that use the database MCP to fetch this. Currently, I think it's going into the code to check. You can do escape to just interrupt it in between. And now tell him to use the database MCP to fetch the list.
Oh, okay. It did not use the MCP earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you see if it is using that list table tool from the database MCP. I think for list you can give the permission.
It is taking clobella database.
I think then copy paste might be an issue. No, the clobella was the name of the database MCP. I think it will fetch from your database only.
I'll do
So
yes
the
and no
command,
task again.
yeah, for list you can give it. So there is a name that you can give the MCP. For my case, I added that, so it took it from there. For read also you can give permission. Yeah. So now it found the table. So yeah, so it listed the brands only. So database MCP is working. I think we can now try the linear one. So for linear, we can go into the plan mode that we discussed, right? So there is a plan mode where you can discuss the issue, get suggestions, and then from that plan mode, we'll create the linear issue. You can explain a bit what you want to achieve and see.
Okay. So now this is so this is the problem that I'm facing right now. So let's say whenever I log in, right? Let's say now I don't have a number here, which is registered, right? So I register with a number, let's say. Right? Now when I register with this number, it should take me to the onboarding page.
Okay.
Which it was ideally working earlier. I'm not sure why it is not working now. But that is something that we can ask it to fetch. Now when I click on verify, it's right away taking to the dashboard screen.
Okay.
But there is an onboarding screen that it should. So
I think let's start with this issue then. We can fix this issue. So in plan mode only, try to explain that issue and also send a screenshot that from which screen the onboarding is starting.
So basically plan mode is it doesn't go directly into implementation side, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Cursor, that is the issue that I had faced previously, that you want to, they have an ask mode where there is an agent mode and ask mode. But you try to forget, right, that, and you ask and it starts implementing immediately rather than proposing a solution first. So I think this also helps with the quality of the code, that you plan first and you know the next step that the agent is going to take, and then you can leave it to do it or the whole process.
So in this approach, there are high chances that the task is done in one shot.
Yeah.
So earlier on login, if onboarded column in database is 0, the user was redirected to the onboarding page. But for some reason, it's taking it directly to the dashboard page.
So you can tell him to, can you go through the code base and find out the issue and propose a solution. Because in this case, it has both the code base, right? The front end and back end. So you'll have to maybe tell him if he doesn't properly guess.
Okay.
So it's going into back end. But yeah, it will go to backend API to find out the onboarding one.
Should we explicitly tell it that there are two different projects or something, or should we add that?
I think it has that context because the Claude MD file, it has already added that backend front end thing over there. So if you see, there is backend, Laravel, and front end is. So it knows that.
So for backend, it says CD backend. And for front end, I think
so there is also control R. If you do control R, you will get to know the detail of what it is going and thinking.
Control.
Currently there is not
Okay.
thinking, but you can see the whole view.
Got it. So this this we are trying to connect, like create a, so we are trying to use the linear MCP, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so it says critical.
So it has created a report. So in plan mode, whenever you ask a question, it finds out and gives you a report, and then
Right.
you can, if you think it's correct, then you can ask it to go ahead and execute it.
Got
So
it.
can
So it
you
says,
verify whether it?
it says main problem is the front end routing structure. No onboarding route protection, hard coded dashboard redirect, missing onboarding check. Okay.
So the
So I
required
think,
fixes, and you update onboarding routing existing already as the correct logic. It checks onboarding status. I think you can go ahead with
yeah.
the execution. This is one of the issue that I'm also facing when
It's
you do the
flickering.
planning. It's flickering.
Okay.
I think there is an update issue that we got yesterday.
I think it's a new loader from
Yeah.
another.
Mhm.
So now, so this is also one of the good thing with Claude Code. Whenever you give it a task, it will create an internal subtask for to achieve that solution. And
Okay.
whenever, so it will then check each and every step and also update the status that I have done the first step. Now I'm doing second. So you know whenever you are coming back to this terminal, you will know what is the current status of the task.
Okay. Like it's helpful for like more bigger tasks.
Yeah.
But currently, it has not created the task on linear, right?
No. So we have
I think
currently
we
asked it to execute it. Yeah,
executed.
you should
Yeah.
have reminded us that we need to create a linear task for this. So yeah,
Okay.
see, it is also striking out the things that are already done.
Right. And this is talking directly to the Claude models, right?
Yeah, so currently by
Unlike
default, we are using the Sonnet 4 model. You can also use the Opus, but it uses more token.
Mhm.
And
But
also
if
one
you
of the,
compare,
yeah,
if you compare it to Cursor, ideally this requires more token. Like Claude Code is using more token.
yeah, because you are using Sonnet 4 directly. In Cursor, if you use it in auto mode, then Cursor internally decides, depending
Which
on the
model to
task,
use?
which model to use. It also
Yeah.
uses a lower token model also, but in this case,
Yeah.
you are using Sonnet 4. So the token usage is high.
Compared to Cursor.
Yeah. And the reason for using MCP is that only so that it uses less token by getting the data uh, upfront rather than we providing it data and then. So I think it is testing now. And yeah, testing is also, I've seen that in Claude Code, it internally tests every solution
change.
or update. Yeah, it has done so that you don't have to worry.
And I think it would be more better at testing once we give the browser MCP and
Yeah.
those things. So it could actually run it and see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can also see the tokens used uh, in real time. It is showing the tokens that is used, what is the time taken, and also you can, there is a costing mode which gives you the costing as well.
What does it say?
Yeah. So it wants to run npm run dev to test. Yeah. So now if you see, it has updated the files.
Yeah. It's showing all the changes here.
Yeah.
The
So
UI is also looking good. It is
yeah,
not
it is looking
like
good.
terminal.
Yeah. If there are multiple files, then I think going to cursor and seeing is required. Otherwise, it's fine. Yeah, you can give it permission to composer also. So currently, it's trying to like run the front end, back end, but it does not have the capability to see the output. It will rely on logs to see it. But you can go and manually check now if it is working or not.
Right. Yeah. Now it's working.
So for the UI part, let's try to use linear and see how it works.
I think now it's working.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try linear MCP now. Let's create a task for the UI improvements.
From the UI.
Yeah. I think it added this log, right? Claude Code added this log in the console.
Yeah. So
I think you can just do an escape to come out of this. Yeah. First of all, ask it to create. I think we don't have the project on
yet.
linear. Yeah.
Will
You
it create
can
that
ask
as well?
linear to. First of all, let's add some things in the memory for Claude Code
Okay.
to remember, like don't use localhost or 127 IP to
Right.
access the backend. So you can do hash and then type anything. It will remember it into the memory.
Okay.
So yeah, always use backend.
Enter.
Yeah. Now it will ask you whether this memory is just for this project, just for your local machine, or it's at global level. So you can add it in the first point.
The project memory.
Yeah. So this also gets commit to the Git, right? So whenever I pull this code, I will also have the same memory. So now let's use the linear MCP and ask it to create a project first for this.
So how do we do that?
So you can just ask it to create a project in linear called boomco.
Using linear MCP?
No, I think it should take it. In case of database, it has some confusion, right? That whether to use local project database. I think you can give permission to this. First, it tries to list whether this project is there or not. And it selected the builders team. It also updated the description, I think. You can just open linear and see if it's proper. Just give that kind of, otherwise it won't create. Yeah. Yeah, I think you can now check on linear.
Yeah, created one.
Go into the detail ones. Okay, so it added the details over here as well. Yeah. So let's create our first issue in this.
Right.
So you can ask it to improve the UI of the front end and also add the screenshot over there.
We can also attach a specific file to the prompt, right?
Yeah.
Then
I want to improve the UI. Please propose a solution. Ask it to make it maybe professional or modern.
I want to improve the dashboard campaign listing UI for
yeah. So in this, if you want to like specify a particular file that you know and you want to make changes in that, you can do @ and start typing the file. So it will show you all the files that are there in the project. And you can add it. This is the current implementation.
Okay, this is the improvement plan.
So you can ask it to create an issue for this improvement plan that he suggested.
So I'll create a linear issue. Okay. So this issue, so just tell us how you are using this issue thing briefly. That helped you a lot. So for users, it won't make sense why I am creating an issue when I can
Yeah.
just go ahead and right away implement it. So just explain
So
us
for
that.
issue, what I have seen is, so because I'm working on multiple projects at the same time, what I've noticed is rather than doing on-demand changes like giving it a change and then asking it to do something, and then I am switching to another project and asking it to do another thing, it is not clear whether it will perform that task well or not, what solution it will provide. I don't know beforehand. I will only know once it implements. So what issue does it? You can discuss. So take 1 hour of your time before starting any coding.
Correct.
Just discuss the problem, ask it to give solution, and then create an issue for that. Just do that for 1 hour and create
Right.
as many issue as you want. And then after an hour, you can ask it to take the issues in sequence. Because you have done a brainstorming session with the agent, the issue also will have the solution, the file name. You can improve the issue. What I've done is I've created a custom slash command, which also provides the file name, what is the solution in a particular pattern, so that when it fetches that issue to solve it, it knows where to go and find that problem and solve it.
Got it. So what I feel is, even when I was making this project, I right away started. I did some brainstorming on ChatGPT, and I right away started with Cursor. But that was a bad decision because I don't had the whole idea clear in my head. So when I was building with Cursor, I was iterating and then adding new things and then again iterating, and that took a lot of time. Whereas if I had done this thing, done a 1 hour brainstorm, created all the issues, and then just let Claude or Cursor start like working on it, it would have been more productive.
So I think now the thing that we used to do a few months back was to go in ChatGPT and create a PRD. That thing is now obsolete. I think we can do it right away in the Claude Code. So whenever, just create a empty folder and start talking with it in plan mode. And once you get a solution, you can then ask it to execute.
Right away.
Yeah, I think you can go ahead and ask it to proceed with the changes.
So let's check all the other MCPs. So I think we work with linear, we work with file system.
No, I think no. We added database, linear, and
database,
sequential thinking.
And
Sequential thinking we haven't used it, but we'll have to like explicitly tell him to think sequentially.
Okay.
But that's needed only when you are working on some logic, business logic or something. Otherwise, it's not needed because it uses more token than normal conversation. I think we can implement Puppeteer in this other tab of terminal, and because it might have some issues, it won't be a one-time setup. You'll have to make other changes as well. So first you need to install Puppeteer. Maybe you can Google search and see how to install Puppeteer in. Yeah, I think you can use npm to install Puppeteer. Okay. Now you can add the MCP, but for that you'll need to go into that folder of our
this.
Yeah. So other thing, I think we can try this. Yeah, with Puppeteer, if you see the command, just go and see the command. We have added hyphen user over there. Yeah, hyphen s user. So this means this particular MCP is installed at user level. So if you install it in this particular project, it will automatically get installed in other projects once you initialize Claude. So you don't have to install it in every project. So there are 3 types of MCPs. One is local to that project, one is global, and I think there is one more.
Okay.
So this hyphen s user, if you add, it will do it at user level. So for linear also I've done hyphen user s because we'll have to use linear for every project. Yeah.
Right.
Just check with Puppeteer if it is able to see the. So in this particular window that is already open for the project, you can go and see do /MCP to see if Puppeteer is connected. Okay, because this session we already was open, right? So you just do just come out of this instance by doing Control-C and again opening Claude. Now check MCP. Did we run the add command?
No.
I think we
Okay.
didn't.
Okay, so that we can do now. Yeah, now check. Okay, it's
Yeah.
connected. So there are multiple MCPs for browser.
Okay.
Puppeteer is the
One up.
the basic one that it has, but there are a few more that we can try later. So now, okay, Puppeteer is also done. For mobile, I think we don't have any app, right, to test.
No.
But
So
But it's the
Puppeteer
same
is
thing,
done.
right?
File system is what?
so file system is actually not needed, but in case you want to create folder structure or maybe rename few
Okay.
files and everything, it is helpful. But Claude also has that bash permissions.
Got it. No, so at least this was very much helpful. I think the basic Claude Code setup as well as the sequential thinking, the linear setup, and then the Puppeteer thing. Now, Puppeteer, just give us some examples of how Puppeteer has helped you.
So for a recent project, I was creating a PDF using browser short in Laravel. So for some reason, it was not able to replicate the UI on the PDF, the
Okay.
HTML that I had provided. So for that, I had to generate the PDF every time and send screenshots to Claude to share the updates. So that time, this browser Puppeteer was very helpful, where as it was also it was not an authenticated URL, so it was able to open it in the first try and check what
Then
are
it was
the
able
changes.
to navigate everything.
It was also able to scroll. So in the PDF, there are multiple pages. So it used to check for some div elements for IDs, some class, and then navigate to that particular page and then make changes.
This authentication is also one time, right? Once it is,
Authentication is not one time. In case next day if you try to do it, it
yeah,
has to do it. For every session, you have to do
one
it.
time session, yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, I would suggest if you're starting from scratch, then don't add authentication for that screen that you're developing with Claude Code. Otherwise, it would be a problem every time.
Cool. I think this was helpful. Shashank selection. I think this was very helpful. Ankit, did you set up as well on your end while we were doing this?
Little bit, but I will complete it later on.
Okay, cool. So our focus is to shift to Claude Code and automate like most of the projects that we are working on, so that we can work on multiple projects. And we'll keep you posted on the journey.
So
And
there are
if any,
few more advanced things that we have missed in this call. We'll do a separate call maybe to do
Right.
slash commands, which are more advanced stuff where you can create custom slash commands. Like we used
bunch of
MCP.
commands.
Yeah. So you don't have to type in everything, the same
time.
thing every time. You can use that
Right.
command. A command to create, to fetch MCP, linear issues, to execute or fix issues. We can do that in the next call.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.